tragedy would strike just 2 weeks shy of Harry's 13th birthday.
We have an update on the condition of...
This is an ABC News special report. A royal baby.
And good morning. We are coming on the air right now because there is a royal baby, a baby boy for Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan. Want to go straight to Amy Robach in Windsor with all the details. Hey, Amy.
Yes, hi George. Finally, the wait is over. Just as I was headed to Heathrow, we got word that Duchess Meghan had been in labor since the early morning hours here in Great Britain time. So it was quite a labor, and we just got word, yes, that she's given birth to a healthy baby boy, 7 pounds, 3 ounces. He is healthy and well, so is mom, and they have said that they will give us more details in the coming days. We know that this was a pregnancy clouded in secrecy. They wanted privacy. We still don't know yet where Meghan gave birth, if it was at home at Frogmore Cottage, where a lot of people suspected she would be giving birth. We do know that, of course, Prince Harry was right by her side throughout it all, along with her mother, Doria, who's been here for quite some time, awaiting the arrival of baby boy Sussex. And we have seen certainly some excitement here on the streets, so many people gathering to hear the word. I heard some laughter as the news broke on the couple's Instagram page that they had indeed given birth to a baby boy. So we are hoping to get some more information about the name. We know that he will be 7th in line to the throne, and certainly this is a historic moment for the crown because this is the first American-British biracial royal ever to be born here in Great Britain. So certainly a lot to celebrate as people are starting to hear the word here on the streets in Windsor. But so much excitement, and finally, George, the wait is over.
And you get to come home, Amy. But first, we want to share in the excitement. Will Reeve down there on the streets of Windsor. Hey, Will.
Hey, George, how you doing? It is a boy. Everyone assembled around me is very excited. Don't know if you can hear the cheering, but it is a bank holiday here in England. So the streets of Windsor, which are normally pretty sleepy, perked up because of the holiday, and then perked up even more when they heard the news. Just over my shoulder up at Frogmore Cottage, we think the boy being born. I was joking with Amy as we staked out this royal birth all week that it would be a boy. I'm glad to have been proven right. Now I just want to see if the prediction of it being named William comes to pass. Of course, that would be after his brother, but I'm getting some shaking heads in this crowd around me. Everyone very excited. It's a happy day in Windsor.
It is a happy day, worth the wait. And Harry is speaking right now.
I haven't been at many births. This is definitely my first birth, but it was amazing, absolutely incredible. And as I said, I'm so incredibly proud of my wife. And as every father and parent would ever say, you know, your baby is absolutely amazing, but this little thing is absolutely to die for. So I'm just over the moon. Thank you very much, guys.
There was Prince Harry right there, and I want to bring in Imogen Lloyd Webber for a little bit more on this. A week late, but the boy is here. As Prince Harry says, this little thing, we still don't know a name.
Now, there's always a little bit of a pause for the name, and I think every parent can relate to that, can't they? They want to decide, let's get to know the little one first. Good news that the Duchess and baby are both healthy and well. That's on the couple's Instagram. The baby is likely to be called His Royal Highness, not His Royal Highness, the Earl of Dumbarton. He's probably going to get a courtesy title, but he's not going to get a royal title. That would have to have a special dispensation from the Queen there. And, of course, this is a very special baby, the first Anglo-American royal baby, although would have to apply to be an American citizen. I wanted to go that route. And the first modern biracial royal baby in line for the throne, 7th in line for the throne, the product of the first globalised royal marriage. And I think it's just a huge celebration, and that's why we love the royals, isn't it? You know, they're relatable. They're historically consequential, but relatable.
And they are. Imogen, thanks very much. I want to go back to Amy one more time, just minutes after this official announcement. Baby boy Sussex has been born. There you see it right there, Amy.
Yes, so exciting. And in fact, we're learning a few more details. We know that baby Sussex was born at 5:26 this morning here. So the couple, as they said, they wanted some private time, had about 9 hours or so to really take in and soak in the joy of having just given birth to a baby boy. And then you just saw Prince Harry sharing the exciting news. Now we still get to wait here. We're all waiting for, of course, the name and that photo that everyone wants to see of the historic baby Sussex still, but baby boy Sussex, we can now say, George.
Baby boy Sussex, about 9 hours old. Thank you, Amy. We're going to have much more on this on GMA. Many of you will be watching that right now.
This has been a special...
All right, guys, we're continuing the coverage of very good news out of Windsor. A new baby boy has been born to Prince Harry and the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle. We know that it's a baby boy, a healthy baby boy, and the mother is healthy also. 7 pounds and 3 ounces, born in the early morning hours today. We're not sure where she gave birth or what the name is, but everyone is very excited. And as you know, this has been something that people have been waiting for. They wanted to keep all of this very private, but now we're here and we have it. So I want to go to some sound from the father, Prince Harry. Take a listen.
I'm very excited to announce that Meghan and myself had a baby boy early this morning, a very healthy boy. Mother and baby are doing incredibly well. It's been the most amazing experience I could ever possibly imagine. How any woman does what they do is beyond comprehension, but we're both absolutely thrilled and so grateful to all the love and support for everybody out there, from everybody out there. It's been amazing. So we just wanted to share this with everybody.
Yeah, it's official. They announced it officially on their Instagram page, Sussex Royal. Pretty exciting because, as I said, everyone has been waiting for this news for quite some time. The family, the couple saying that they wanted to keep it as private as possible. And as we mentioned, it's a boy, 7 pounds, 3 ounces, born in the early hours of this morning. We're not sure where the Duchess of Sussex gave birth, but we do know that everyone was healthy in the process. This boy is 7th in line to the throne, and it's the first biracial baby in the royal lineup. So this is pretty incredible news. We don't know much more details, but we're obviously going to be keeping you updated. Prince Harry and the Duchess, if we just go back to some of their getting together when they first got together. They went on a blind date in July 2016. They announced their engagement on November 27th of 2017. They were married in Windsor on May 19th of 2018. And now they're finally having their first child. So again, not much news. We're waiting to hear more, but it's very exciting to know that everyone was healthy in the process. And you see that there, the official announcement on the Instagram page, Sussex Royal, saying it's a boy. So I want to go to Will Reeve, who's been on Royal Baby Watch for quite some time. Will, just tell us what's happening there and what the excitement's like.
Well, Kimberly, it's a great payoff, right? We've been here for now a week on Royal Baby Watch because that's how overdue the Duchess of Sussex had been. We didn't know where or when she would have the baby. We still don't know exactly where, but we think that it was up the hill behind me at Frogmore Cottage where Meghan and Harry make their permanent home. We do know, though, that it is a boy, 7 pounds, 3 ounces. Everyone's very excited. Today is a bank holiday here in the UK, so Windsor is a typically sleepy town with a lot of tourists to visit the royal castle just behind me, but today there were extra people here because the holiday. Everyone snapped to attention as soon as they heard the news. There is a massive presence on the street, press and fans. I've got this camera that I'm talking to you on right in front of me, and then a whole bunch right around me. Hello, everyone. Everyone's very excited, if you can hear them, to hear the news that there is a new member of the royal family in the UK, a boy, 7th in line to the throne, but no less exciting for everyone here rooting for the royal family and for those of us who have been here reporting on the arrival of the royal baby for a week now.
Yes, and can you just tell us, is there anything happening? Have you seen anything happening like outside of the castle or anything, like any movement?
You've reported on the baby, but we don't know what the sex is.
Well, so they really, we haven't heard much other than that it's been born. There hasn't been much activity. They've been operating under sort of the cover of darkness. There's been rumors of police in and out and outriders like motorcycles and doctors sneaking in. Someone said they saw pink blankets in the backseat of the Queen's car the other day, which maybe they have pink blankets, but it is a boy, so you would think they would be blue. So we don't know any really specific details other than the baby is here. Mom and Dad are happy and healthy, and so is the boy at 7 pounds and 3 ounces.
Yeah, and I just have to ask you, I mean, I know you've been on Royal Baby Watch for quite some time, but were you actually surprised that it happened today? I think everyone was kind of like, oh my goodness, it's here.
Yeah, to be totally honest, I thought that I was going to move here. I was going through the process of applying for, a visa, permanent residency, because I never thought it was going to come. It was just, as I mentioned, a week overdue, which for a 37-year-old first-time mother borders on dangerous. There were reports coming out today, even, and yesterday, that Meghan might have to abandon her plan of having a home birth because it would be too dangerous so late in a pregnancy. They would have to induce labor and then take care of the rest at a hospital. I actually did the drive from the entrance to Frogmore Cottage, half an hour away to Frimley Park, where she would have had the baby, just to trace it out. Didn't have a police escort or a helicopter like Meghan probably would have, but we made sure that it was up to royal standards, and it was. But regardless of what happened, it was indeed a surprise. We knew there would be a baby, didn't know when, but glad it's now, because now we all get to celebrate.
Very awesome. Very awesome. And what are your plans from now on? I mean, what are you going to be doing the rest of the day?
I'll be buying baby gifts and then expecting my invitation at any point over to home to hang out.
I love it, Will. I am so happy that this has happened. This is incredible.
But in all seriousness, we will be... Yeah, we'll be here, though. Like, in all seriousness, I am going to run out, get baby gifts, await my invitation, but then I'll be right back here for you. ABC News Live is where you need to go to find out all the latest as we report on all the latest of this royal baby, the boy, healthy at 7 pounds, 3 ounces.
Very awesome. And we have Imogen, who's also there on the phone. Imogen, I just want to go to you. If you can just give me some updates, anything you know, tell us the goods about where you are.
I think we all want many updates. This has been a very anticipated baby, hasn't it? Look, it's a baby from the first globalized royal marriage, the first Anglo-American royal baby, although the baby would have to fill in some paperwork, but, first Anglo-American royal baby, and also the first modern biracial royal baby in line to the throne, seventh in line to the throne. One of the reasons we love the royal family is that they're a family, so they're relatable. They have these great moments, marriages, babies, but also this baby is historically consequential. And there's that too, so perhaps you feel a little less guilty about being so interested in what's going on. And I think for all of us who were around when Diana died and saw Prince Harry having to walk behind his mother's coffin at the age of 12, we've always wanted Prince Harry to have his happy ending, to have his fairy tale ending. And I think it's wonderful for all of us. And you can only just imagine that Diana will be looking down just thrilled for Prince Harry, and he will be remembering her very much today.
Very awesome. Yeah, and I just want to ask you, I think some people are curious about the baby citizenship. Will it be a dual citizenship, both British and American?
It qualifies for dual citizenship, but it will still have to apply. So I think it's okay. We can't call the baby the first Anglo-American royal baby, but he will have to, or, Meghan and Harry would have to apply for that. He qualifies, certainly.
Very awesome. I want to go back to Will. Will, if you can just give us the updates again about what we know so far. We know it's a boy. We know the boy is healthy, 7 pounds, 3 ounces. Have you learned anything else?
That is what we know. We know that there is a royal baby. It's a boy, 7th in line to the throne. We are still trying to ferret out any more details on whether this baby was born just up the hill at Frogmore Cottage or if it was somewhere else. Again, this entire pregnancy was shrouded in mystery, very unlike the royal tradition. Of course, Kate and William have announced pretty much every step of the way where they would be having the baby, when they would bring it out for a photo in front of the world media. None of that is planned yet as far as we know, but we are here waiting. Now that we know that the baby has arrived, they sprung that announcement on us out of nowhere, so now we're waiting for them to spring the next announcement that they're going to come and reveal the boy to the world. Of course, we will be there for that. As for now, we wait, we celebrate, we toast to the baby and the family's good health, and we enjoy a beautiful day in Windsor, one of the most lovely towns that I've ever had the privilege to spend an entire weekend.
Very cool. Yes, and Will, we're just going to take a look at the succession of this baby, because this baby, the first biracial baby in the royal family, is the 7th in line to the throne. So take a look at how this all works out.
Prince Harry's grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, ruling the throne now for 67 years, the longest reigning British monarch ever. The crown not always meant to be hers. Instead, her uncle Edward was meant to be king. But after a love affair with a divorced American woman, it changed the course of history. Wallis Simpson winning the heart of King Edward, who abdicated the throne to his brother in 1936 for love. Elizabeth's father, George, then wearing the crown, catapulting Elizabeth to the front of the succession. At just 25 years old, Elizabeth becoming queen after marrying Prince Philip and then welcoming 4 children. These 4, Charles, Anne, Andrew, and Edward, married and gave birth to 8 grandchildren for the queen, which later led to 6 great-grandchildren today. The oldest, Prince Charles, then marrying Lady Diana Spencer in 1981 when she was just 20 years old, a ceremony more than 750 million people around the world would watch. Prince William and Harry arriving soon after, but scandal enveloping the family again. Affairs on both sides leading to a very public and bitter divorce. Then, just a year later in 1997, a devastating car crash, ending Diana's life at just 36. Charles later marrying the woman coming between him and Diana, Camilla Parker Bowles, now known as the Duchess of Cornwall. And in 2011, Diana and Charles' son, Prince William, finding happiness, tying the knot with his college sweetheart, Kate Middleton. The two now known as the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, parents to 3 children, George, Charlotte, and little Louis. The line of succession to the throne now stands as follows: Prince Charles, Prince William, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, Prince Louis, Prince Harry, and the new baby Sussex.
Yes, and as we know, the new baby Sussex is a baby boy, and you see there live images of people on the street, probably excited in Windsor there because of this new announcement. I want to go back to Imogen Lloyd-Webber, who's here in New York and knows everything concerning the royals. Imogen, one thing I want to ask you is, we don't know a name, but what do we know about possible titles for this baby?
So that's a very good question. The baby will qualify to be called the Earl of Dumbarton, which is a courtesy title connected to Harry's Dukedom of Sussex. We shall see whether they go with that or not. Forget, Meghan personified the American dream before she even met Prince Harry. So maybe they'll say, oh, we don't want the baby to use the title at all. But the baby, the son, will qualify and be called the Earl of Dumbarton. The baby will not be His Royal Highness unless the Queen makes special dispensation, and that's very, very unlikely. So, yes, because they want a streamlined royal family. So look, this is all very exciting.
Yeah, and we see a tweet here from the royal family. They say Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex, has safely delivered a son at 5:26 hours. The baby weighs 7 pounds 3 ounces, and the Duke of Sussex was present for the birth. Imogen, what excites you the most about all of this? I know you've been keeping up with this like everyone else, but you love this subject. What excites you the most?
I think that this is the first Anglo-American royal baby, and we always wanted Prince Harry to have his fairy tale ending, and this is lovely to see. And I'm excited to see what this family do. They're not bound by the protocol that William and Kate are. William is the future King of England. Prince Harry and Meghan, get to forge their own path, their own way, and this baby is never going to be king or queen. But at the same time, actually really does mean something, and means something to the special relationship. And I thought one of those things that there's this line that people use about the monarchy, that it modernizes but is never modern. And I think this baby is certainly very much part of the modernizing process, and we will all be watching.
Yes, definitely. So, guys, if you're just joining us right now, big announcement out of Windsor. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have had a healthy baby boy, 7 pounds, 3 ounces, born in the early morning hours. Not sure where the baby was born, but we do know that he was delivered and he is very healthy. He's the 7th line into the throne, and the first biracial royal. So I want to go to some sound from the proud father speaking earlier.
I'm very excited to announce that Meghan and myself had a baby boy early this morning, a very healthy boy. Mother and baby are doing incredibly well. It's been the most amazing experience I could ever possibly imagine. How any woman does what they do is beyond comprehension, but we're both absolutely thrilled. And so grateful to all the love and support for everybody out there, from everybody out there. It's been amazing. So we just wanted to share this with everybody.
Yeah, Prince Harry speaking there. He was saying he's happy for the love and support, and we have been so excited about this. I want to go back to Will Reeve, who's there in Windsor. Will, just give us an idea again of what the crowd's like where you are. Big news today.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's very happy walking around. This is a destination to begin with. Windsor Castle over my shoulder is a very popular tourist destination. It's a gorgeous town out of a fairy tale, really, and people were visiting because it was a bank holiday. It is a bank holiday. And then once the news started to trickle out that Meghan was in labor and had in fact had this baby boy, everyone really ratcheted up the excitement, the intensity. There are people just lining the streets everywhere, very excited about the baby and very excited about the presence of the media, especially the American media. Of course, Brits are a little different in their perspective about the royal family, the royal birth, than we are in America. But everyone, I would say, the common denominator is happy that the baby has arrived, happy and healthy, and that the family is the same. It was nice to hear Prince Harry and to see Prince Harry come out and make a statement. Proud dad, looked a bit of a tired dad, and he was subdued, and just you could tell that he was enjoying his time with his family that is now grown by 1, with the 7th in line to the throne, which will be spending he, I should say, I can use that pronoun, he will be spending his time just over my shoulder here at Windsor Castle at Frogmore Cottage, where Harry and Meghan are making their permanent home. Everyone's just happy. It's a nice Monday here in quaint little Britain. Everyone's excited about the royal baby boy. Now we just need a name.
Yeah, well, I like starting off the week with some very good news. I'm just curious, where exactly are you located? You're right. Can you tell us your exact location?
I can, without getting run over by a car. This is Windsor High Street, and just over the way there is the castle, and then up the hill there is bigger grounds. There's a big green expanse, and just on the side of that is Frogmore Cottage. I was walking by there this morning, actually, with not much to do, just waiting for this baby to come, and I took a little stroll by Frogmore Cottage. Of course, a stroll by Frogmore Cottage, I was like 5 football fields away from any gate, but I could see where it was, and I said out loud, I kid you not, please come today, and I guess they listened.
Okay, so you're the reason the baby is here. You willed it into existence. Very cool. Will, we appreciate everything. I guess yes. You're officially off of Royal Baby Watch. So guys, we're going to keep you updated on this information as we get new developments, and of course, when there's an actual name. But again, a new baby has been born, 7th in line to the throne. 7 pounds, 3 ounces, healthy baby boy to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. So congratulations, and we're going to continue the coverage with Sky News. You've been watching ABC News Live.
A new dad. We know that for a very long time he's wanted a family. He's so good with children. He's always makes a beeline for the little girl that's wearing the tiara or the little boy who's got ginger hair. And now finally he can come out and tell the world that he finally is a father. I think looking at the statement that was sent out this morning, just in case people are only just tuning in now, it was confirmed that the baby was born at 5:26 this morning, as Prince Harry there was saying. the baby was a little bit overdue. Lots of people have talked about the size of Meghan's bump because she is so tiny. The baby weighed 7 pounds and 3 ounces. Also confirms that the Duke of Sussex was present for the birth, as of course you heard from that interview there. I like the fact that he laughed, saying it was the first birth that he'd witnessed. Also, I think obviously 5 o'clock this morning the baby was born. We weren't told that she'd actually gone into labour until about sort of an hour ago. So the baby had obviously been born when we were told that she'd gone into labour. But I think they always wanted to make sure that there is, like any family, time to tell the rest of the relatives before they tell the rest of the world. So in this statement it says that the Queen, the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince of Wales, Duchess of Cornwall and the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge were all told about the arrival of the baby boy. And also it's lovely to hear that also Princess Diana's sisters were told, and also Earl Spencer as well, because we know just how close Prince Harry was to his mother. Also, there's been a lot of speculation about where exactly Meghan's mother has been. She obviously normally lives over in America. We know that mother and daughter are said to be incredibly close, and we now know that Doria Ragland is currently at Frogmore Cottage with their Royal Highnesses, and no surprises here that the new grandmother is said to be overjoyed at the arrival of this little boy. And also very nice here to hear that Meghan and the child are both doing very well.
Indeed. And Rhiannon, just talk us through the official stuff, the title, succession. Who is this new young royal? Where will they be in line to the throne?
So already this little royal has its own hashtag. So hashtag Baby Sussex has been the title for this child ever since we found out that they were pregnant. But now we obviously have to talk about the more official titles that this child may be entitled to. The little boy will now be 7th in line to the throne, which means there's no big kind of constitutional change as a result of the arrival of this little boy, apart from a few people get bumped down that order of succession. Also, at the moment, we don't know whether or not this child will have any specific titles. So as well as us waiting to find out what the baby's name is going to be, we're also still in some ways waiting to find out what the title of the little boy is going to be. We know that the baby isn't automatically entitled to become a prince or princess. This is all laid down in a letters patent that was put down by King George V back in 1917, and means that only the grandchildren of the Queen and the son of the heir to the throne are allowed to have those titles of HRH. So what it would mean is that for this child to become a prince, it would mean that the Queen would have to step in and issue a letters patent. Also, there are other titles that the child could take on. So, for example, they could have a lesser title from Prince Harry. So we could see this child being called Earl of Dumbarton. But I think, to be honest, most of us are probably waiting to find out exactly what the little boy's name is going to be.
Indeed. And Rhiannon, there was a lot of fevered speculation a little earlier in the week that perhaps the baby was already here because the Queen came to visit the young couple at Frogmore Cottage, didn't she? And there was another car with pink blankets had been seen in it in Windsor Town Centre. I mean, who will be the royals who will be visiting first, do you think?
Jane, I think over the last week, everyone has been clutching at straws, hoping that we would see this baby. It has been a very long build-up for some people. Some of the American TV networks have been here for at least a week and a half, prepping with that big run-up to this baby, broadcasting every day, every little bit of speculation, whether it's a pink blanket, whether or not it's the decision that Prince Harry is going to go to. There was this announcement last week that he's expected to go to Amsterdam and The Hague as early as Wednesday, Thursday this week. All of these little things, people were wondering whether or not sort of the baby had, some people suggesting maybe the baby had already been born, other people wondering exactly when the baby was going to turn up. So it has been, fevered speculation around this child. And I think for us here in the UK, there has been interest around the baby. Certainly for the newspapers, they have been writing weekly, if not daily, stories about Harry, Meghan, how they're going to raise this child, are they going to have a son or a daughter? But the international interest is absolutely enormous. Do not forget that they are the rock star couple of the royal family at the moment. And that is something that has struck me whenever we've been on sort of tours or visits with them. The crowds have been enormous. Australia, New Zealand, weekend, people were coming out talking about how much they respect Meghan, how much this couple now reflects a modern world, and now it's going to be a little family that is reflecting the modern world. And that, I think, is why there's been just this enormous excitement building around the arrival of, we're going to have to get used to talking about this little boy, their son.
How do you think it's going to change Prince Harry and Harry and Meghan? They have, as you said, been very involved with a large number of charities. They've been really busy since they got married, haven't they? But, you know, Prince Harry has made no secret talking to you personally about how much he wanted children. He clearly wants to be quite a hands-on dad, doesn't he? Do you think we'll see a little less of this couple for the next few years now?
I think they haven't specifically talked about maternity leave or paternity leave, and I think there is, for members of the royal family, there are always engagements that they are expected to be seen at. I suspect if Meghan is going along the lines that we've seen with Kate, for example, we may not see her back out on royal duties until the autumn, maybe. But certainly for Prince Harry, he will be back at work, potentially back at work on Thursday. He's due to go to The Hague to launch a year until the 2020 Invictus Games that's due to take place in The Hague. And speaking to the Palace earlier, they said that he really wanted to get to that event. Excuse the pun, but in many ways the Invictus Games has been his own little baby over the last few years. It's something that he's incredibly passionate about, that Paralympic-style sporting event. So, yeah, I think he may well be back at work fairly soon. But he has talked about wanting to be a hands-on dad, about wanting that child to have a very ordinary life, and as much of an ordinary life as they possibly can. I think that is why they will try and control the images around that child as much as possible. But all that celebrating behind me shows that there is this enormous international interest around the couple, and that is something that is going to be quite hard to control. And while here in the UK, people, I think, well, certainly the media are quite respectful of their privacy, they realise where that line is, there will be, no doubt, paparazzi photographers around the world who will be desperate to get any pictures of this family of three, because they're a family that sells.
And Rhiannon, when we saw the wedding a year ago, many famous faces, of course, weren't there at that wedding. You know, this is a lady who was an actress before she became the Duchess of Sussex. There's going to be a lot of speculation about godparents, aren't there? Might we see some famous names up there?
Oh, well, this is what people can't wait to find out, is who are going to be the godparents of this child. Just looking back in the last few weeks, well, about just over a month ago now, when we saw Meghan in New York at her baby shower, and that A-list sort of guest list that she had, the likes of Serena Williams, Amal Clooney, she's very close to the Canadian stylist Jessica Mulrooney. She has got some very high-profile friends, and that's the thing. This has turned into quite a showbiz couple as much as a royal couple. People have been talking about Prince Harry very recently. He's going to be working with Oprah Winfrey on a new mental health programme that's going to go on Netflix. So this is kind of a couple that seems to straddle the royal and celebrity world quite easily, and I think it's the glitz and the glamour around them that people also find quite appealing. But yeah, I don't know whether or not we will see anyone visiting. Frogmore Cottage is probably about half a mile away from where I am now, tucked in the middle of Windsor Great Park. You can just about see the chimneys if you look hard enough, but it's that element of privacy within the countryside that I think both of them crave, and they really wanted to set up their own home, I think, away from Kensington Palace. Whether or not we'll see any relatives coming or going, we'll have to wait and see. One thing that is happening here in Windsor this week is the Windsor Horse Show, so we know that the Queen is always a huge fan of that, so she will definitely be out and about. But yeah, whether or not we actually get a glimpse of the grandparents or any uncles and aunts paying a visit, we'll have to wait and see.
OK, Rhiannon, for now, thanks very much. Let's speak now on the phone to freelance royal reporter Victoria Murphy. Victoria, Prince Harry was very much known as the party prince, wasn't he? Is this him really growing up now that he finally becomes a dad?
Well, I think there can be no doubt that he's settled down with his family. And I think it was so lovely to actually see him make those remarks not long ago there. He's clearly very excited, very happy. You know, Harry has made it very clear for a long time that he wanted to be a father. He's spoken about being a big kid himself, and he's always related really well to children on official engagements. We've seen him so many times with them, loving the company of children. And I think there perhaps was a time, maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, when I think people did wonder, is he going to get that? Is he going to get his sort of happy ending in that sense? Because, you know, he was single, he'd had a couple of failed relationships, and he, you know, it was clear that he wanted to settle down, but he hadn't quite found the right person. So I think for a lot of people to see this story unfold so quickly for him and to end so happily with him, with his family, I think for a lot of people who follow the royal family and who love the royal family, this is a very significant moment.
And in terms of interest in this latest new young royal, because they are quite far down the succession order, it gives them a certain amount of freedom, doesn't it, to be themselves without the weight of history pressing down too heavily on them. Do you think the media will be as interested in this new little baby as they were by the arrival of George and Charlotte and Louis?
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting question because obviously if you look at the sort of constitutional implications compared to the birth of Prince George, this baby is 7th in line to the throne, is very, very unlikely to ever become a sovereign. His position in line to the throne will fall probably very significantly as he grows older. And so in that sense, you know, the interest level should be a lot lower. But I think what we've seen with Harry and Meghan is that they have really generated this huge amount of interest worldwide. And in that sense, I don't think that the interest level is any lower, really. And I think certainly in America, I'm here working with an American broadcaster primarily, and, you know, the interest is enormous because this baby is eligible and likely will have dual heritage, so dual citizenship. So I think, you know, there is an argument that, yes, this is less significant, but then I think for a lot of people, this baby's birth is very significant and will remain so. And it's sort of that question, really, of will people follow that traditional path and look to William and Kate and their children as the future of the monarchy, because that's kind of how it sort of should be constitutionally, or will actually people just be interested and want to hear about the couples who excite them the most. And I think in that sense, I think we may see that the interest levels don't really fade on the Sussexes.
Interesting stuff. Victoria Murphy, thanks very much. For those of you just tuning our way, just a reminder of the breaking news in the last hour. It has been announced by Buckingham Palace that the Duchess of Sussex had a son at 26 minutes past 5 this morning, weighing in at 7 pounds 3 ounces. The Duke of Sussex was present for the birth. Also, in the last few hours before they told us, the Queen, the Duke of Edinburgh, the Prince of Wales and the Duchess of Cornwall have been notified, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge and Lady Jane Fellows, Lady Sarah McCorquodale and Earl Spencer, all Diana's family. They have all been informed and are delighted with the news. And also the Duchess's mother, Doria Ragland. She is overjoyed, apparently, by the arrival of her first grandchild and is with her all hands at Frogmore Cottage, where both mother and child are doing well. It was just a short time ago that Prince Harry appeared in Windsor to one camera to just let the world know what had happened overnight. Beaming with pride he was, but also looking rather shattered. Let's just listen in again to Prince Harry announcing his happy news to the world.
Yes, I'm very excited to announce that Meghan and myself had a baby boy early this morning, a very healthy boy. Mother and baby are doing incredibly well. It's been the most amazing experience I could ever possibly imagine. How any woman does what they do is beyond comprehension, but we're both absolutely thrilled. And so grateful to all the love and support for everybody out there, from everybody out there. It's been amazing. So we just wanted to share this with everybody.
And what about names? Are you still thinking about names?
Still thinking about names, Alan. It's yeah, the baby's a little bit overdue, so we've had a little bit of time to think about it. But yeah, we're still. That's the next bit. But for us, I think we'll be seeing you guys in probably 2 days' time, as planned, as a family, to be able to share it with you guys and so everyone can see the baby.
Well, you can't stop smiling. It must have been. I mean, I suppose every birth is amazing, but for your own child, it must be. Oh.
I haven't been at many births. This is definitely my first birth. But it was amazing, absolutely incredible. And as I said, I'm so incredibly proud of my wife. And as every father and parent would ever say, you know, your baby is absolutely amazing, but this little thing is absolutely to die for. So I'm just over the moon.
Well, he certainly looks it. Lots of excitement inside Windsor Castle at Frogmore Cottage. Lots of excitement in Windsor generally. Let's go live to the Long Walk in Windsor. Sky's Jonathan Samuels is down there soaking up the atmosphere for us. Jonathan.
Jane, many thanks. Yes, welcome to the Long Walk here in Windsor. I can tell you, Jane, I've never seen news teams assemble so quickly. The world's media has started gathering here in the last hour. TV cameras from all over the country and indeed the globe, photographers as well, all here waiting for that first glimpse of this new royal baby. And it's going to be quite a wait, as Prince Harry said there, a couple of days at least. None of the sort of razzmatazz that we saw with William and Kate when their children were born on the steps of the Lindo wing. Of course, everyone got a glimpse within a few hours, actually, of a couple of those children. A little bit longer for Prince George. Here, things are being done very differently, but that's not to say there isn't a huge amount of excitement. Locals here in Windsor have all been gathering to try and get the latest news. Also, tourists, of course, who are in this part of the world, all rather pleased that they were here when it happened, when it was announced that it was a baby boy. Well, let's speak to a couple of people who have wandered down here to find out what all the fuss is about. Got Felix and Zara. Felix, you live locally. You're a big royal fan, aren't you? You're here for the wedding, and now you've come down to see what's going on today.
Yeah, we were here for the wedding last year. Fantastic news. We were actually having a coffee. We didn't even expect the baby would be born today. But we walked into town and we saw the crowd and couldn't avoid it, quite frankly. But it was brilliant. Amazing news. Really happy for the royal family. And, you know, big fans.
Yeah, it's really cool because being around when, like, all the wedding and then all of the Queen's great-grandchildren being born, it's quite cool, yeah.
Are you disappointed that perhaps we're not going to see the baby as soon as we did if it had been born in the Lindo wing, in the, you know, with William, of course, and Kate? They came out onto the steps. That's not going to happen here.
Yeah, but I think after a while we'll see the baby and it'll be exciting then, yeah.
Yeah, and we know it's a boy. Yes. Any ideas of names, do you think? What would you like him to be called?
I'm not sure. Henry? That'll be a good name. I think that'll carry on the family legacy, but yeah, too early to say.
Yeah, the bookies are going for Arthur, James, Philip, maybe Albert.
Albert's good. I think that could be a good one. Yeah.
And what's so interesting about this couple is that they want to do things differently, don't they? They're obviously wanting to keep things a little bit more private, especially for the first baby. Does that surprise you?
It doesn't, but at the same time, I think it's important for the younger generations to engage with the royal family, connect, whether it be social media, and I think the way they come across, I mean, Zara, as a 13-year-old, is highly impressed, follows them avidly, so I think it's good. I think it's brilliant how they come across and engage. It's important.
Yeah, Zara, have you been following them on Instagram? They launched their Instagram page recently.
Instagram, yeah. I follow them, yeah, that's cool.
What is it that you like about Meghan and Harry?
I think it's really important that there's the new generation, so the new generation can like relate more to Harry and Meghan, so I think that's good.
Yeah. Why is that, do you think? Just that they're perhaps a bit more in touch?
Because they're younger as well, so it's just because they're younger, and I feel like they can talk more to the younger generation, and we can learn like from them.
Yeah, and they're doing things less traditionally, aren't they? And I think that is what appeals to a lot of people.
I think tradition's important, but also when you look at the technologies that we're facing and the challenges and all the charity work they're doing, I think it's important that we kind of look ahead for our future generations. So when you look at all of the charity work that's been going on in the past year, you can't keep up. It's phenomenal what they've been doing. So I think for us, just being as a local resident and just hearing the noise, I think it's brilliant. I can't say any more. It's absolutely brilliant for us.
Yeah, Harry due to be launching the Invictus Games in a few days' time in The Hague. Do you think he should go, or do you think he'd be better off staying at home?
That's a tough one. What do you do? No, I think he should go. He's been here for the birth of his little one. That's important. But equally, you've got thousands of people around the world that are relying on him to drive and propel the games into the next year ahead. So I think that's important that he does go.
Brilliant, excellent. Well, thank you both very much indeed for joining us, and we'll all wait to see that first glimpse of the little baby boy very soon. Now, right now, though, we can speak to Victoria Howard. She's joining us on the line from Leeds. Victoria Howard is the editor of the Crown Chronicles. Victoria, where were you when you heard the news?
I was actually out shopping, doing some bank holiday shopping myself.
And it's a boy. I think, well, I thought it was going to be a girl, hence wearing a pink tie. Were you surprised?
A little bit. I had a sneaky feeling it was a girl as well. So, yeah, a little bit of a surprise, but lovely. We've got a new Earl of Dumbarton for the Windsor House, and just looking forward to hearing the name now.
And Victoria, we've seen Prince Harry coming out to announce the news. He was positively beaming, wasn't he? Had a real spring in his step. What did you make of that wonderful statement?
It was really, really nice, actually, for him to come up to the cameras. Of course, with William and Catherine, they tried to sort of keep it as public as they needed to, but private too. So they made sort of one statement when George was born that, and William made a joke that George had Kate's looks. So it was a really nice insight that he sort of gave that rundown of, you know, it was emotional, he was very excited, and he's really excited about his newborn son. And it just reflects the couple really as a modern royal couple.
Do you think there will be some disappointment that the way they have announced this news, the way they're going about things, which is so different, of course, to how William and Catherine did things? Do you think it's a shame that we're not having all that excitement on the steps of the Lindo wing, or do you think it does reflect their personalities?
It absolutely reflects their personalities as well as their position within the royal family. You know, they're not going to be that close to the throne as William takes the throne and then George does. George's children are next in line, so really they're a little bit distant, as it were. And personally, I am a little bit disappointed. However, it's completely expected from them, I think, the way they've dealt with their relationship and the publicity. So I don't think this is unusual for them at all.
And Harry said it'll be a couple of days' time. It'll be a very intimate photo call, won't it?
Yes, it's just going to be a couple of cameras, literally sort of two, a film TV crew and a photographer to get those official snaps of the newborn, which I think is probably more comfortable than that barrage and the wall of press that William and Catherine faced with George, Louis and Charlotte. So it might provide some more, some nicer images with the backdrop of Windsor Castle and the fact that it's just them three in their little bubble.
And of course, all thoughts will turn to the name. Harry said no name has been chosen as yet. Where would you put your money?
I really like Arthur, but I also liked Arthur for Louis, Prince Louis, when he was born. However, I think, like I say, they're a little bit distant from the throne. The child is not really going to be that heavily involved. So they could go a bit left wing. Something we discussed as a team at the Crown Chronicles was perhaps inclusion of Spencer for Diana's side of the family, or even Francis, which was one of Diana's middle names, of course, which can be a male name too. So I think it'll be really interesting to see where this goes. Of course, there'll be a bit of tradition in there for the royals, but I think that will probably fall into the middle names as opposed to the first name.
Wedding reception.
OK, yeah. Well, hopefully we won't have too long to wait and find out. Many thanks indeed for your time. Let's speak to Angela Levin now. She's a royal biographer. Angela, good to have you on this afternoon on Sky News. Exciting news, and it all came very quickly, didn't it?
Yes. I mean, it's amazing. I think that you wait expectantly for perhaps 24 hours, but this has been a really fast, very well organised birth, I think. They've got exactly what they wanted, privacy, and to do it in a very sort of cosy, intimate way. I think Harry is obviously overjoyed at the moment. I think he will be very sad that his mother's not there to see the baby, but I think he will feel, as he has done over many years, that she's there watching over him, and he will be very, very excited. He's wanted a baby since he was very young. He said he wanted children. He loves children. He feels most at home with children, much more than with adults, I think. And so now he's finally got it. I think it will really heal him and give him a role and something to be very, very proud of.
I think many of us were expecting to get a statement from the palace saying that the baby had been born. We weren't quite expecting to see Harry so soon, but this is obviously something that he will have chosen to do, something that he will have wanted to do.
Yes, I think this was spontaneous. Harry wears his heart in his sleeve, you see. He didn't want the press there. He wanted it all done from a distance. So actually, if you've been at your wife's first birth, you are amazed by this miracle of a baby coming. He used his feminine credentials, which others, Meghan's encouraged. He's a feminist and is saying, I don't know how any woman can do that. So that will have gone down very well. And you want to share the joy. You want to show people how happy you are. And so things aren't always the same when the event happens. You know, there's a difference between the theory and the practice. And this is just bubbling over with joy and pride.
Of interest. This is
Angela, tell me what the protocol is now. Will the baby have a title? Will the Queen decide that it's okay to call him a prince? How does it work?
Well, I think it doesn't have to, because he's seventh in line to the throne now, and there's not much chance that he will take it. I mean, you look at Princess Anne's children, they're not, they don't have any titles. I think the Queen will decide whether or not she will. I doubt if she will make him a prince, but she may make him a duke. I think it sounds very funny to think of a tiny baby as a duke, but anyway, he could be that, or there could be some other royal type name, but they might want him to be just called by his Christian name, you know, Mr., like Princess Anne wanted. Harry might want to get away from all the royal connections and give him a chance to be ordinary. He said to me when we talked at Kensington Palace, I really want to be ordinary, and maybe he will do that for his child, and who knows, the child may grow up and not want to be ordinary at all. That's wonderful about babies. They go their own way, do their own thing, and you have to bend to what they want.
And he'll have an American passport, of course, and seventh in line to the throne, is that right?
Yes. Well, Harry's sixth, isn't he? And so the baby will be seventh. If Kate has another one, Harry will drop to seventh and the baby will be eighth. But it's up to six that you're very close to the royal family, and then after that you have much more freedom and you're not expected to be at certain events. And so the child will have much more freedom. I'm sure Harry will protect him. He always praised his mother for protecting him from the press, which he's not very fond of for obvious reasons. And he's a very protective person, and he will look after his child and protect them from being in what he calls the royal goldfish bowl. So how they want to bring the baby up will obviously be a joint decision, but it'll be very interesting to see the balance between America and UK, and who pulls the strings most and what their compromise is. Very interesting, I think. Watch this space.
Yeah.
The things that he clearly...
Yeah, and watch this space indeed. And just before we let you go, Angela, your thoughts on names. Everyone's going to be discussing this today, aren't they? Where do you stand? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think they'll surprise us and do something American, because he's very keen that Meghan has her way. Right, like at the royal wedding, you know, we had a lot of American input, and I think that will still happen. They might come up with a name that no one can imagine to establish his independence, and that he's not tied up with the royal demands of coming up with a name that's been done with many generations before. I don't know, actually. I think there might be something worked around Diana, you know, Daniel or something like that, because he'll want to have her in there somewhere. It's very important to him. But I don't know what a female version of that would be. But he'll probably have two names rather than three or four. And they're obviously discussing it now, because I think lots of couples think about the name, then they look at a child and they see something else in there, and they decide that the one they thought of doesn't work for this particular baby, and it'll be another one. So I think it'll be very interesting. So keep us waiting for a bit. well, until they let us know.
Yeah, I think
they do things their way.
I think they said well.
Harry is definitely going to do things his way, and Meghan absolutely will be there too.
Great. Angela Levin, royal biographer, great to speak to you and get your insights and thoughts on this very special day. Many thanks indeed. If you've just joined us, we're live here on the Long Walk in Windsor for the breaking news that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have had a baby, their first child, a little baby boy. Plenty more after the break.
I want to bring in Victoria Murphy, ABC News royal contributor, because she's been waiting along with us for these weeks or so here, waiting for this type of royal news. We had to wait 9 hours before we even knew the baby had been born, but there were several members, you say, of the royal family who found out right away.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we waited for a long time, and then 2 announcements in very quick succession there. The baby's been born, it's a boy. But yes, they did, of course, want to tell their close friends and their family members personally. And we know that the Queen and Prince Philip have been informed. We know that Prince Charles and Camilla have been informed, and William and Kate have been informed. And also, in what I think some people will find quite poignant, because of course Princess Diana is not here, her sisters and her brother have been informed. So it was obviously incredibly important to Harry to tell and make it known that he had told the most important people in his family.
That's right. And you know what? It's interesting because when we were here for the Great Kate Wait, there was that very public moment when we saw William and Kate come out with George swaddled in white on the steps of the Lindo wing, and we heard from the royal couple pretty quickly. We weren't necessarily expecting to hear from Prince Harry, so it was quite a surprise to hear him speak in front of the cameras and take that moment.
Yeah, very nice surprise to see him, and you could clearly see that he's still very emotional, he's very excited. I mean, we know that Harry has wanted to be a father for so long. He's spoken about, he's brilliant with kids, he's spoken about being a kid himself. And you know, there was a time maybe 3 years ago that we wondered, will he get his happy ending? Will he get this moment? And so to see him so happy, having become a father and so in love, I think is just really lovely for so many people.
It certainly brought a very welcome smile to my face to see his smile. Now, in terms of titles, we're not yet sure what or if the baby will be called anything other than his name.
Baby Sussex at the moment, yeah. Exactly. We don't know what title, if any, this baby is going to have. Buckingham Palace have just said to me just now, be very clear, we haven't made any announcement on any titles or names yet. There are different options on the table. This baby could be a prince or princess, should the Queen issue a letters patent, as she did with the Cambridge children. This baby could have no title at all, or they could go down the peerage route, in which case, because this is a boy, we now know it's a boy, this baby will be known as the Earl of Dumbarton. So there are different options on the table still.
Sounds very official, and we've been saying this all morning. This is such a historic day because of who this baby is and what it represents. The fact that it's American and British and biracial, what does that mean for the royal family and for this country?
Yeah, I mean, I think so many people who have followed Prince Harry's story, there was always going to be huge interest in his firstborn child. But I think the fact that he has married someone and had a child with someone who brings so much and brings, I think, in many ways, this really different audience to the royal family, I think he's hugely significant.
And we still don't know yet whether or not Duchess Meghan had the baby at home at Frogmore Cottage, but we know they're there now, correct? And do we know how they're releasing this photo?
Yeah, so they're in Frogmore Cottage now. Buckingham Palace said that they are keeping where the baby was born private, but we are going to see them pose for a photograph, hopefully in a couple of days' time, with their newborn son.
All right, well, you know, when Prince Harry said the world will see him in 2 days or so, I was thinking, will we actually see him? But no, it's definitely just going to be a photograph.
Just going to be a photograph.
All right, I thought I'd try. I mean, maybe that would be pretty cool, and I'm sure in enough time it will all come. We had to wait. We had to be a little patient here, guys. But certainly, as I say, the crowds keep forming. People are taking pictures. There are balloons up. We had people who had signs like "Welcome Baby Boy," "Welcome Baby Girl." Now we just see it's the "Welcome Baby Boy" signs here in Windsor. And the greatest news of all is I'll make it home for my daughter's 13th birthday, guys.
What about names? Are you still thinking about names?
Still thinking about names, Alan. It's yeah, the baby's a little bit overdue, so we've had a little bit of time to think about it. But yeah, we're still. That's the next bit. But for us, I think we'll be seeing you guys in probably 2 days' time, as planned. as a family to be able to share it with you guys and so everyone can see the baby.
Well, you can't stop smiling. It must have been. I mean, I suppose every birth is amazing, but for your own child, it must be. Oh.
I haven't been at many births. This is definitely my first birth, but it was amazing, absolutely incredible. And as I said, I'm so incredibly proud of my wife. And as every father and parent would ever say, you know, your baby is absolutely amazing, but this little thing is absolutely to die for. So I'm just over the moon.
Prince Harry, over the moon, he said. I don't know how you'd describe him. He was beaming, obviously, elated, excited, maybe a little bit tired. He'd obviously had a very long night, given that this baby was born in the early hours of this morning. But just fantastic for him to come out very relaxed as he told the world that they were parents for the very first time. I think mums around the world will be particularly pleased at how he said he has no idea, no comprehension of how mothers manage to do what they do. Well, of course, the news has been warmly welcomed here in Windsor, but also in London as well. The BT Tower, has become tradition now, was lit up in blue, and of course the words there, "It's a boy," the same tradition for Louis, who was the last royal baby, of course, and we're expecting the London Eye, the big wheel in London, to be lit up as well, perhaps when it gets a bit darker, red, white and blue. Well, I'm pleased to say that Rhiannon Mills has hot-footed it from the centre of town to be with me here, our royal correspondent. Also, Emily Nash is here as well. Thank you both very much for being with us. Were you surprised how quickly this news came?
Well, I've been here for over a week now, so no, it's not.
You were delighted.
It's not come quickly for me. I was delighted. It was very nice that finally, a very long wait for me anyway. I think it was all quite quick.
The timing was a bit different to what we expected.
The timings of the announcements, I think we expected maybe a bit more of a lull between the announcement that she'd gone into labour and then subsequent announcement that the baby had been born. But of course, this was always going to be very different from the royal births that we've been at before. Obviously, with the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, we were there outside the Lindo Wing. You have that Lindo Wing door to look out for the comings and goings. And I think it was always for them very important that we did know when she'd gone into labour, because she was inside that hospital, and then there was that slight delay to find out when the baby was born. But yeah, 5:26 this morning, the baby was born, 7 pounds 6 ounces, I'm thinking.
That's right.
Lots of people have been talking about the size of Meghan's bump and whether it was going to be a particularly big baby. So a decent sized baby there.
That's a good way, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. And I think also so lovely to see Prince Harry today coming out and wanting to talk about the news. I certainly hadn't anticipated that we were going to hear from him so quickly. I think when we had the statement a couple of weeks ago now saying that they wanted to keep this arrival as private as possible and were very keen to have that private time together, I certainly thought that there would be more of a lull between hearing from the parents and the actual announcement. But as he said, again, we are going to, in the next couple of days, see them finally as a family of 3. There is going to be a very small, low-key photo call, so it's going to be incredibly different from that sort of massive press gathering that you normally see outside the Lindo Wing.
Yeah, Emily, your magazine, Hello Magazine, loves a good photograph,
We love
it?
a baby, we love a new baby, and we love the royal family, so this is extremely exciting for us, and we can't wait to see those first images of this baby, which has been, so long anticipated, not just by us, but Prince Harry himself, I think, has made no secret of the fact that he's been so keen to become a father, and I think seeing those lovely images of him earlier just really reinforced that. The fact that he is kind of so vocal and so keen to talk about, that this baby is to die for, really tells you all you need to know. This is sort of the icing on the cake for him.
You both took a gamble this morning. You went for pink, you went for blue.
Oh, yeah.
Emily, you won, didn't you?
I just had a feeling everyone kept saying it was a girl, and I just, anyway. It's not often I'm right about these things.
We've all been guessing a lot, I think.
Yeah. Do you think there's a little tinge of disappointment from royal fans, royal watchers, that we're not having that Lindo Wing steps moment?
I think it's nice that they're doing things differently, and I think that everyone understands people need to do what suits them best, and they want to step away from that fairly stage managed appearance, which you'd expect from the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, because after all these are going to be heirs to the throne. This baby's 7th in line to the throne, and he can now have a lot more freedom, I think, growing up than the Cambridge children.
There was a lot of talk about where the baby was going to be born. The rumour had always been, hadn't it, that Meghan wanted to have a home birth in the newly renovated Frogmore Cottage, of course. Others thought, well, you know, perhaps it'll be in a private wing of a London hospital. Did it surprise you what happened in the end?
Well, the truth is that they're still not telling us the full story. So unlike with the Cambridge's births, where we were given the full rundown of the medics involved and the location, we're not being told. The couple have decided they want to keep those details private, but I think we can infer that it did perhaps end up being at Frogmore Cottage from the news that Doria is with the couple, Meghan's there, she's at home. I mean, it would have had to been a very quick turnaround getting home from hospital after a first delivery. I'm sure someone will find out eventually.
Brianna, what's royal protocol now when it comes to things like titles, for example?
So we are still a little bit uncertain, I think it's right in saying, about titles. We don't anticipate that this baby will be a prince or princess, because there was a letters patent that was released back in 1917 that said that it was only the grandchildren of the monarch who would be given that title of their Royal Highness. So we don't anticipate that this baby will be a prince. We also obviously waiting for the name. I think that's going to be particularly interesting. Are we going to be looking at a very traditional name? I think with William and Kate, we always anticipated, because their children were much higher up that line of succession, that they would opt for more traditional names. But again, we wait to hear what the child's going to be called.
Will they go a bit left field, do you think?
I wonder whether they will.
They have more scope to do that, I think. It would be lovely to see some American influences, perhaps. You know, and they're very big on things like, I was going to say feminism, that's not really going to work so much for a little boy. But, you know, perhaps they might honour somebody, even Nelson Mandela. We know that's Meghan's childhood hero. I mean, there's nothing to stop them.
But again, that news will probably be somewhere down the track, won't it?
Well, I wonder whether we might get that news on the day of the photo call. As Prince Harry said, in a couple of days, the plan still is that they will step out in front of a very small little media gathering, so just one TV camera, one photographer, and pose for some photographs. And I wonder whether at that point we will get that baby's name. Mainly because I wonder whether for the couple, they will want to put a line under it and say, right, we've done this, those are the announcements out the way, you've got the first pictures, we now want some time together, we now want some private time. Also though, what we need to factor in is that at the moment, Prince Harry is due to fly to The Hague on Thursday, where he's due to help launch 1 year to go until the Invictus Games.
How's that going to go down with Meghan?
Well, I wonder. Well, to be honest, he seems so giddy about this child this morning.
Real, new parent sort of elation going on, hasn't
I wonder whether he will want to go. And I know I was saying it earlier, and it's a dreadful pun, but the Invictus Games has been his little baby for the last few years.
This is true.
He loves that sporting event. He is so committed and so passionate about it. And earlier in the week, the Palace were saying that it's likely that he would want to still go for that. But I can't see him rushing away from Frogmore Cottage.
Do you think we'll see the Queen come here in the next day or two to meet her new great grandchild?
I'd be very surprised if she doesn't make a visit at some point. But equally, you know, if Meghan is feeling well, as they say she is today, then there's no reason why they might not take their little boy up to meet her at the castle. So.
It's Windsor Horse Show this week.
Yes,
so the Queen is normally out and about, loves Windsor Horse Show. We normally see her with a little headscarf on and her cardigan on. So certainly it's going to be busy at Windsor anyway. So she's here. Why not pop down? Why not pop down to the cottage? But
and you mentioned Meghan's mum being here as well. She managed to sneak into the country quite quietly, didn't she?
Well, did anyone get any photo? There was certainly lots of speculation about
There was a lot
Doria
of chat about her having been here since mid-April, and I think that's definitely the case. No one's seen any pictures of her, but you know, I think that's fair enough. She's a private person. She doesn't need to be interrupted like that.
Yeah, and
but the statement said she's overjoyed. Overjoyed grandmother. Unsurprising.
Meghan's had a bit of stick recently, and you've covered that quite comprehensively on Sky. Do you hope that we've got to some sort of turning point now?
It's been really interesting to look at the last 9 months, and yet she's not had an easy time when it comes to pregnancy. She seems to have breezed it. She seems to have physically been very well, but when it comes to the level of attention and and criticism from some parts. It can't have been easy. On International Women's Day, she talked about the fact that she doesn't read Twitter, she doesn't read the negative comments. I wonder whether I believe some of that. She's a lady who used social media herself to build her online brand. Obviously, Instagram, their new account, is so important to them. But also, it is that interesting sort of mix between what is going on here. Some people have suggested that there is sort of a racist connotations to the criticism that she faced. Is it because this is a serious clash of cultures between this American actress marrying into the ultimate levels of the British establishment? But one thing is for certain, they are doing things differently as a couple, and that new Instagram account is a prime example of that, and that you can see their personalities coming out through that. And I think also the way that they want to stage manage everything around the arrival of their child. Yes, they know that they are a hugely influential couple at the moment. They're the rock stars of the royal family at the moment.
Yeah.
But for them, being a family of three, that is now going to be the priority.
Yeah, let's ask you that as well, Emily. What does the future hold, the next few weeks, the next few months? I mean, there's even been talk about them perhaps going to Africa for a period of time.
Yeah, my understanding is that they are looking ahead, obviously, to their work, and they've made the Commonwealth a key focus of their work, so they will be travelling a lot in future with their little boy. But I think, as any new parent quickly discovers, life changes enormously, so perhaps the plans that they've been making may have to alter as their lifestyle does.
Yeah, you can say that again. all the best laid plans
exactly.
Can go up in smoke, can't they? Yeah. But royal fans will be delighted with the news, won't they? Of course, and you've been spending time with them. You know what they're like. They can't get enough of this.
Oh yeah, you will always get that little gaggle of royal, very dedicated royal watchers who are there.
Terry and John
and Margaret and Carol. They're there in their union flags. You see, we all end up hanging around a lot together.
This is the fourth one in 6 years. Yeah.
And they're always there. What's been really interesting for me, though, is over the last week is seeing the international media attention building. And like you were talking about earlier, Meghan's not had an easy time of it, but one place she definitely does get an easy time of it is in America. They cannot get enough of her. And this baby is as much America's baby as it is our baby. And they've been here for the last week broadcasting on any little announcement, change, development, from pink blankets being spotted in cars to the Queen wearing pink to the bookies calling off different bets. The Americans have been all over this, and they've got rolling coverage going at the moment. And so I think that is something that I suppose in the UK maybe we don't fully anticipate. That this is it's just enormous international news.
Believe me, we will be following every announcement,
I should hope so.
Development and little change over the next few hours. Rhiannon and Emily, great to see you both. Thank you very much indeed. Don't go too far. We'll speak to you again a little bit later. Plenty more from here in Windsor as we report the breaking news that Harry and Meghan have had a little baby boy. Stay with us.
Throne now for 67 years, the longest reigning British monarch ever. The crown not always meant to be hers. Instead, her uncle Edward was meant to be king. But after a love affair with a divorced American woman, it changed the course of history. Wallis Simpson winning the heart of King Edward, who abdicated the throne to his brother in 1936 for love. Elizabeth's father, George, then wearing the crown, catapulting Elizabeth to the front of the succession. At just 25 years old, Elizabeth becoming queen after marrying Prince Philip and then welcoming 4 children. These 4, Charles, Anne, Andrew, and Edward, married and gave birth to 8 grandchildren for the queen, which later led to 6 great-grandchildren today. The oldest, Prince Charles, then marrying Lady Diana Spencer in 1981 when she was just 20 years old, a ceremony more than 750 million people around the world would watch. Prince William and Harry arriving soon after, but scandal enveloping the family again. Affairs on both sides leading to a very public and bitter divorce. Then, just a year later in 1997, a devastating car crash, ending Diana's life at just 36. Charles later marrying the woman coming between him and Diana, Camilla Parker Bowles, now known as the Duchess of Cornwall. And in 2011, Diana and Charles' son, Prince William, finding happiness, tying the knot with his college sweetheart, Kate Middleton. The two now known as the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. Parents to 3 children, George, Charlotte, and little Louis. The line of succession to the throne now stands as follows: Prince Charles, Prince William, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, Prince Louis, Prince Harry, and the new baby Sussex.
In the target line for getting a cork in the eye, but let's try and...
We are going to likely see more
wonderful news. Like you said, fantastic news! It is so wonderful. We've waited for ages. I've been bubbling all week. I'm like that bottle of champagne. and so, you have been here how long? No, only today. But I've been at work and trying to work, and I can't because I've been too excited. Just aim it away from us for the moment. We'll continue to have a chat. And the news that it was a boy, lovely news. Beautiful news, wonderful news. Yes, I thought it was going to be a boy. And I mean, I know that perhaps we didn't, have people queuing outside a hospital for days, but it's still a nice atmosphere. It is. Yay! And how much longer do you think that you'll stay down here? Will you maybe hang around for a glimpse of the baby? Oh yes, got to be done, hasn't it?
Apparently, my friend John has said they're showing the baby tomorrow, so
we'll see.
I'll stay over.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And what do you think? I mean, they've done this very much their own way, haven't they? And what do you think about that? I think it's good that they've done it their own way. But it had to be today because today's bank holiday and everybody's got a wonderful reason to celebrate. Get out the champagne, buy the stuff. Oh, it's fantastic news, really is. Wonderful news. This is what Britain needed today. Yes. This is what we've been needing. I'm sick to death of Brexit. So let's have something to celebrate. Yes, good news. Wonderful. And you've been down here for how long as well?
Since Friday. I originally came down for just the day, but my friend John was feeling a bit down, so I've stayed with him.
Oh, and wonderful news to cheer them up. Well, ladies, I'll let you enjoy your champagne now. Thank you so much. As you can see, lots of bubbles flowing down here in Windsor, celebrating the great news that a baby boy born to the royal couple this morning. Absolutely.
Katerina, to say that people are excited, I think, is something of an understatement. Many thanks indeed. And I think there'll be plenty of champagne drunk inside Windsor Castle this evening and at Buckingham Palace, of course. So we're waiting to hear what the Queen has to say about her latest great-grandchild. Prince Harry came out and spoke to the media a little earlier. He was beaming, I think it's fair to say, absolutely elated and excited as he delivered the news that he and his wife had a baby. He said, "I'm so incredibly proud of my wife. This little thing is absolutely to die for." He said that he is over the moon. Do stay with us. Plenty more from here in Windsor with the breaking news. There's a new royal baby.